And
Okay.
in my sophomore year in high school, I didn't feel like I was getting enough from the church that I was going to. It was a smaller church. I had went to my friend Ben, who actually is a minister down in the southern part of North Carolina now. He's my best friend in high school, but his church had a rockin' youth group, and I just enjoyed myself there. So I actually
Okay.
broke away from my family's church and started going to his church. I joined his church because I felt like I was getting more out of it. And I actually got me and him. What we would do, we got to where we would run youth night, which was Sunday nights. You know, the if you're in the high school youth groups, we would go in the fellowship hall, and we actually got to run those. We made things like we spent a week probably before this actually happened making a game called Who Wants to Be a Bible-aire, and we set up podiums, and it was just like Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, but with Bible questions. And so those were some of the things that I would spend my afternoons doing, making either mock lessons or games like that to do for the youth night. So I was heavily immersed in the Bible
Church
and all
culture.
things.
What type of
Right.
what denomination was that?
It was
If you know.
it was a Southern Baptist. Now my family goes to an independent Baptist, so I went from an independent to a Southern. And the difference between the two, if you're wondering, is if you've ever looked at a Southern Baptist and said, "I like it, but I need something more to the right, more conservative, more authoritarian," then an independent Baptist is exactly what you're looking for.
The one that your family is a more hardcore, more conservative,
Correct.
and wow, because Southern Baptist is famously like the hardcore conservative
Oh,
sect
listen,
of Christianity, right?
there are two farther degrees right than the Southern Baptist. So you have the Southern Baptist, you have Independent Baptist, and then to the extreme far right is the Primitive Baptist. And anything with the word primitive in the in the name of your denomination, you know it's going to be like the old times. You know, like they call themselves primitive. They wear that with that moniker with a badge of honor. So
So your
it's
family of origin is where are they at now? Are they like your brother is gay, right? Or no?
yes,
Do I have
yeah,
that right? And he lives
yeah,
in West Hollywood?
absolutely. We both are actually. That's the interesting part.
Both are you both gay? Now
Right.
you okay, so how did you know you were gay then? Or
Yes.
were you kind of aware of it and what
I
was happening? Was it a
I
struggle?
was I was aware of it. It was probably the hardest thing that I've ever it's the hardest thing that I've ever had to go through, and I wouldn't wish it on anyone. And it this will make sense in a little bit, but the looking back, the pressure and the uh, judgment that I felt because of being from a such a strict Christian sect uh,
Right.
caused so many things that would later come that that's why I have the attitude and why I do what I do now. Like I don't have an issue, just to put it out there, like you, like the kind of Christian that you are. If there were more like you, or if all of Christians were like you wouldn't have an issue with the atheist versus Christian thing. The constant back and forth. There wouldn't be a problem.
Right.
The
Yeah,
problem
I
comes
kind of
in.
get that.
Yeah, the problem comes in, especially with me, when people take the book and they try to apply it to other people's lives, other people that don't want it, and it's harmful. And I'll just explain why I say that it's harmful. I struggled with that on the inside. Now, as a Christian um, guy who was gay, obviously I could not tell anyone that. That would just be, that would be earth shattering. That would uproot everything within my family. It would splinter my friends. No one in the church would look at me the same. Um, that's just something that I couldn't do. So every day I'd wake up, get dressed for school, but I had to put on something extra that most people didn't in the morning, and that would be a mask. I would have to be someone else. I would have to the mannerisms, the interest in girls that I really didn't have any interest in. But you just have to portray that so that people don't ask any questions. It's tiring and it's exhausting, and it takes a lot out of you mentally. And I remember in college I met a girl, and she was a lot of fun. There wasn't anything like romantic because I didn't feel that for girls. But if I had to choose someone to spend the rest of my life with pretending, she would be the one. She
Okay.
was just a lot of fun. And so I asked her to marry me. And there were so many nights.
Wow.
Yeah, I was
Wow.
engaged to
Were
her.
you
I was a very,
were you sexual with her and everything was like
yeah,
in order as far as you were concerned?
yeah.
And what were you
I
doing?
mean,
Fantasizing about like Schwarzenegger or something? Or it just wasn't an issue.
I mean,
How did that go
I don't know
down?
how
Was
crude
it
you can. I don't know how crude you can get on your channel, but I mean, even gay people like boobs, Craig. That's just that's just a that just goes without saying.
okay?
But I was we were sexual. There were a lot of times where I spent a lot of time making excuses, like I'm tired from work, and it wasn't
Wow.
like
Okay.
it was a very far and few between thing. It was a horrible thing. Like looking back, the relationship was just
Did she
horrible because
know?
there
Did she have any inkling when you told her? Was she kind of like,
no
aha, or was she
no
like,
she had no clue. And I'll tell you how we broke up here in just a second. But let me let me get back a little bit to the the just what it does to you part. I
okay,
remember several nights laying in the bed with her right next to me, looking up at the ceiling, and in our ceiling, it's got the stucco ceilings where it looks like popcorn all up on top of your ceiling. And
right?
I stared and I repeated this so many times that I could tell you in a square a certain amount, a certain inches from the other wall, how many pieces of that stucco was there because I had spent so much time looking up and counting and just staring while I said this very thing. I would literally be praying, begging actually is a more appropriate word, for God to see that I was trying, that I didn't want to be this way, that I'm trying to do everything that He wants me to do. I'm trying to do everything that He's asking me to do. Maybe if I get married, maybe if I have the kids, maybe if I, buckle down more in the church, that will be an indicator that I'm serious about wanting to change who I am and that He'll take it away. And I remember like so many nights just begging for Him to take that away. Like I didn't want to be that. I did not want to be gay. It's not something that I was hiding because, secretly I really did enjoy. I didn't. I hated every single minute of it. And no matter what, I could not get that feeling to go away. And she actually went down to a Zach Brown band concert, and I think this is probably stems off of our lack of uh, intimacy as it should have been. But she wound up going down there and hooking up with another guy that was at the concert, and I found out about it. And it was a month before we were supposed to get married in October,
Oh,
and
okay.
we had everything bought, purchase paid for, the reception, all of that, the cake, all of that was already purchased and all that. And I used that as my way out. I used that as I can't get past that. And it was probably a year later that she finally found out that I was gay. But cool, kind of a cool looking back twist to the story. The guy that she cheated on me with, she's actually married with 2 kids, happily married, and so it worked out for her. And it worked out like it should have for her.
Wow.
Yeah.
So
And
the
so
the okay, go ahead.
I was just gonna say after that, I woke up one morning. It was a Saturday morning, and something was different. And I can't to this day put my finger on what it was, but I just remember thinking, I'm not doing it anymore. I am not suffering another day. I'm not going to hide who I am anymore. And like it was like an avalanche of things, because it was not too many weeks later that I was in a youth group at church, and we were closing down, and a couple of the guys were watching a video on YouTube, and just beside themselves, just absolutely beside themselves. And I walked over and looking, and it was the episode of Matt Dillahunty and Aaron Ra.
I was just going to say Matt Dillahunty. Oh my God, that's crazy.
Yeah.
All
Well,
right,
it
go
was
ahead.
actually Aaron Ra was and I'll get to that in a second, but it was Aaron Ra that I owe everything that, my
That spoke to
state
you.
being
That spoke to you in that moment.
not only that moment, but more, and that's why it's I get accused of being an Aaron Ra cheerleader, but
Fanatic.
I am. He woke, in my opinion, he woke me up to where I can like feel free and who I am, because it was the slavery thing. They were talking about slavery, and I remember watching that video with those other two guys in the fellowship hall and saying, "That's not in the Bible. He is making that up. It is nowhere in the Bible that he condoned slavery." And Matt spouted out a verse. And I remember I wrote it down, and I went home, and right before I went to bed, I put out my Bible and I went to that verse, and it was there. And I remembered like that sinking feeling, like, no, 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 no. Why did we not ever learn about this? Like, why is this the first time I'm hearing about that? And so I pulled that video back up, and I began to watch every afternoon when I'd get back from school their videos. I mean, just obsessively watching, checking as they went along. The verses were there. Yep, it said that. And then Aaron Ra did a speech, and I forget what state it was in, but it was like he was talking to me. And he started out talking about the harm that certain religious people can do on people who are gay, and to make them feel this way. But it was just like he was talking to me. Like, there was no audience there. It was Aaron Ra was in my living room, and he was telling me that you don't have to be that way anymore. Like, you can be who you are. You can be free. You can live your life, and that's okay. There doesn't have to be anything more than that needs to be piled on top. And it was like a weight was lifted off of my chest, and that was the last time I ever gave any type of God a thought, a serious
How
thought.
old were you at this point? How old were you?
I was
What
25.
age is this?
25.
Because you said school. You were still at college at this point?
I had
You came back
taken
from.
when I went to become a chef, I was taking some culinary classes. You take a couple every couple of years to kind of brush up on things. It wasn't I was in college. It was a like an auxiliary course. But yeah, I was 25 years old.
Because you're friends with him now, right? As far as I can tell, you're friends with Aaron Ra, correct?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's what.
What about Matt? Are you friends with Matt Dillahunty a little bit,
I,
or no?
I talk to Matt Dillahunty every now and then. I don't know that. He's not. He doesn't have the relationship that me and Arn do. Me and Arn talk.
Right, he
Sometimes
comes
every
on the
year.
show a lot, and he did a
Right.
bunch of stuff with Ken Hovind. He's kind of like he's a little bit higher up the food chain than some of the regulars, but he's kind of a regular, right? As far as
Yeah,
I
he
can
is.
tell, he seems.
He is, and that's what's
So
surreal.
that's pretty amazing.
It's
So
like being
what?
resurrected.
How? Yeah, but you get to actually start. It'd be like if I started hanging out with like Robert De Niro. I started taking
Yeah.
and then Robert De Niro would come over and we'd get coffee. It's like the thing you fantasize about. I mean, I guess you were 25, but it's like the thing I fantasized about when I was like 15 with but I was Joe Strummer and like Robert De Niro and,
Well, you,
you
you have to
know,
think about this too. You have to think about this with uh, there's a little bit of a actually there's a lot of a different. Like I understand what you're saying absolutely, and there are so many celebrities that I would love. Channing